Archers, attack! Keep firing! Let none escape! Another down! Do not relent!
Straight out of the Scarlet Halls, I'm Slidewhistle.
I am Immunization.
And I'm Aaron, Fire Mage Extraordinaire and Horde Punching Bag.
This is episode 38 of Do Not Relent. I feel like I always say it and I'm never confident on the number.
It is confirmed.
Say this is our
38.
38 special. Like the Hold On Loosely band.
It feels like it's been forever since we've recorded because of all the things that have happened over the course of the last week.
I had my life ruined for a week. I don't know how I made it out of it.
We almost didn't.
I had to do a lot of wowing alone, and I'm typically the guy to do little wowing, so it was frightening.
Little wowing sounds like a gross sex euphemism. Show me your little wowing.
Sure.
No, wait, don't show me it. Yeah, I came home last week, and it was Wednesday night, Wednesday evening. I was ready to raid for the second half of the night, and I find out that every gamer's biggest fears come true. I have no internet.
But not only was it that you didn't have like the mechanical aspect of the internet, wasn't there like a catastrophe behind it?
Some Ukrainian men decided that they were going to remove all the wires from the building when they were redoing the siting, and they just completely severed only our internet power cord that goes to the pole in the street. So for some reason they just cut ours.
Later in the week when the AT&T repair person came over to try to fix it, I had to take off work to have him come here because these people fucked up our internet. But anyways, the technician came to me and he was like, these people literally just took a knife, cut your cord, and threw it over the fence. I don't understand.
Were they sending a message?
I visibly see it right there on the other side of the fence.
What if it was a message from Kim from that other guild who ruined Animal House?
Kim from Pants Are Overrated? She's out there to get you guys? Uh-oh.
We can say their names now because they're dead too.
If you're out there, Kim, I know it was you who sent those goons to cut my internet. It was up for a week. No man deserves that kind of pain.
Do you remember when I almost joined Pants Are Overrated?
Oh, because you got a regular invite and you didn't know what it was, right? Is that what happened?
Well, no. It was because I was on the U.S. Proudmoore board. If it was Phoenix Fusion, it was right when we first joined them. But they were rating on a schedule that I couldn't keep because of my time at working at Disney World. So I said, well, I need a guild that has a very specific pattern. And for whatever reason, Pants Are Overrated was the one. And I was like, I think I'm going to join that. And you were like, don't you dare join that Snakes team.
That snake.
That snake who put Chris in the ground. Except that not really, because we've contacted him and he's doing all right.
My boss told me a weird snake story today. He was talking about when he fired an employee 15 years ago and how he said to him, when you cut the grass, you see all the snakes. And I'm looking at a big snake right now. And I was like, what the that's pretty crazy. How many snakes are in your yard that you have that euphemism?
Wait, the boss
What's
said
Kim
that,
doing in his yard?
The boss said that or the employee did?
The boss said that before he fired somebody. Can you imagine mowing the lawn and just seeing tons of snakes? Is that a thing you have to deal with? Do you guys have any snaking experience in your front yard under your cut lawn?
Not in my front yard, but there was a snake next to our above ground pool when I was a child. And my father saw it and beheaded it with a shovel.
Shit. I mean, nowadays here, we literally only have maybe a 2-foot by 4-foot square of lawn. I'm giving air quotes in front of our house, and that's about it. So.
Oh my god! If we cut that,
watch out for the snakes in it.
Look out! But yeah, no internet. Stinky. Just got it back recently, but I guess I can talk about what I did when I got the internet back. Aaron, what did you do this week in WoW?
This week in WoW, I was there. I got off work early. Not for it, but I just so happened to be there for it. To be in line at the launch of Classic, I said, this is it, gang. Grob gang. I'm going to be in there moment one playing, where I was served with a 4-hour wait time. I only had a tracker on for 2 of it, but it was 3.5, 4 hours. And then as soon as I got into the game, it said that the world server was down. And when I tried to log back on, it said it would be a 9-hour wait.
Sounds like the true Classic experience to me.
The true Classic, it is all about waiting in a single file line. And I would attempt to try and get on Growlina and would be met with similar situations over and over and over. So while I was doing that, I also played some retail, and it was just leveling up Growlina's neck level.
Do we need to find a name for current game? Because I feel like retail, doesn't that seem like demeaning to it?
I mean, on Wowhead, any news relating to it is called Live.
We should give it a cooler name. Let's call it something cool.
People also call it BFA. We could just call it... what should we call it?
Stank. No.
Nope, stank. It stank. No, except that I vastly prefer it.
Yeah, I don't want it to be like people calling it a bad thing. Maybe we'll have to come back to that. But I think we have the brain power and the regular human power to create a beautiful name for current World of Warcraft. We just gotta find it.
So after that, I had some time in Classic. Last night, Growlina was still a big old wait, so I had to go to Deviant's Delight to do my research.
Gross.
Which hurt me deeply. But today, after almost a calendar week, past a calendar week, I was able to get into Growlina. And gorsho golly, will I be in Northshire for a while.
Yeah, I mean, the leveling experience definitely is slower than what we're used to.
Everything is there. Even I feel like, and I don't even mean to be like a negative Nancy. I feel like just like the walking speed. I'm like, everything's like slower and worse.
Here I go.
I'm just like, ugh. But Immune, what did you do in this World of Warcraft?
This week, I didn't get to play a whole lot of World of Warcraft. For like half of the week, I was on a trip to Minnesota for work, but I brought my personal laptop and raided via hotel Wi-Fi, which who would have thought that I would be the one out of Slide and I that were able to make it to raid for the entire week because of the internet issues we were having back here, but I was still able to make it on a Wednesday. Yeah, so I didn't get to do much besides raid, but then like when I got back, the internet was out, no WoW. But the internet's been back now for like a day. I've just been catching up on emissaries and things on like the current WoW, and then starting a mage and a paladin on classic WoW. So that's really what I've been up to. How about you, Slide?
For me, once I got internet back, I was very excited. So I started to do all my catch-up things in WoW. I got my conquest capped through the Call to Arms. I'm really glad that if you ever need to get your 25 kills, your horde kills, all you have to do is go to Najatar and find that bridge where everyone is just constantly pushing back and forth between Mesamir and what's it called? New Home, Lost Home.
Yeah, people are always there, always scrapping, and it's like there's always at least like 8 of them on each side who just hate each other, and then it can swell up to like a 30v30 fight, and then I'm just like, I put down a single meteor and just walk away and watch like the 1, 2, 3. I'm like, well, that's sweet.
It's funny too because that's like the most old school way to PvP. So when people talk about like, oh my god, I love PvP in vanilla, that's just like the push and pull that happened in Ashenvale, the Barrens. I don't know the area, but it's the same idea where like one group pushes, one group goes back, and then they get stronger and they push forward, and you just repeat that for hours and hours and hours. So I got my conquest. I'm really close to finally completing the set. I think next week is when I can finally get all the pieces, and then we have to do some more 2s so we can get our rating up.
Your precious rating.
I need it.
You don't want to take it with 3s with me.
Oh, don't worry. Those are separate ratings. We can play as many 3s as we want.
3s. Also, yeah, hell yeah, we can do some 3s. 2 fire mages.
Fuck
and a
yeah,
priest.
we're doing
That's
some
just
3s.
mean. Then I also jumped into classic. Finally, after just a week of hearing about these servers. It's funny because I too had to make a character on Deviant Delight. The name is so bad. Apparently it's some food. Our friend Andrew claims it's the second most famous food behind mage food, and I'm like, I don't believe you, because that name is terrible. Deviant Delight? What kind of food is that?
I like to, when pressed with what Deviant Delight was, he was like, you would eat it and you would randomly turn into things, which which was amazing. It was the only way you could change what you look like, which speaks to the dire straits that vanilla was, where it's like, I turned into a shitty skeleton and people were like, yes, this is everything I want. Finally,
Yeah.
for just 10 minutes, I can escape what I actually look like.
And nowadays, we're all T-mogging and like voguing down the streets of Stormwind fashion shows.
Vogue.
Before we dive into the rest of the episode, I can say that, we actually made a decent amount of progress in Raid this week. We downed Zakul for the first time when I was in Minnesota on hotel Wi-Fi, and then we downed him again this week, and then also we have started like reliably pulling heroic Ajara, and last night we did pretty good.
My favorite is we're getting so confident on getting close to heroic Ashara that the notion of going back to fight normal Ashara, which we have not beaten, is like, no, we're too good for that now. And I want to be like, well, my quest is asking that I just get her once. It doesn't care which difficulty or how much pride we have. Can we just do it once?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're going to end up being 7 out of 8 normal and then get AOTC, as little sense as that makes.
I was surprised because I was sitting here pouting with my arms folded in the dark because I have no internet, and you guys were telling me about your Zakul pull, and I couldn't believe that you guys were pulling so well because we did shit on Zakul the previous week. What happened? When he told me, I was like, who are these people?
And then this week when we pulled him, it was a real stressful battle, and having come from the last one, which we had a smaller group and maybe it was like only the best guys, I was like, gang, what's going on? Why are we backsliding on this?
It was kind of funny that I felt like last week, I was personally underperforming because when I was on this hotel Wi-Fi, which was a little sketchy, and I was on my old laptop that didn't have all my key bindings set, and I was just not playing to my best, and I felt like we had very different comp of people, but we just very easily downed him. I don't understand.
Maybe it's because I wasn't there and I've never really known what to do. I feel like it's still one of the most confusing fights for me for some reason. So maybe because I wasn't there, you guys were able to figure it out. That's what I'm gonna chalk it up to. And then for this week, we were so close to getting Ajara, like you said earlier. I thought that honestly, if we would have pulled like 3 more times, I think that we would have had her because we only lost to like stupid stuff.
Oh, for sure. And then now people are on vacation, so we won't be able to fight her again truly for like another 2 to 3 weeks, which is upsetting.
Yeah, I think that once we finally get down that like last big ad reliably, we will be able to down her.
Yeah, because Honors is in Serbia. Where's Lynn going? Lynn's going on vacation for a week.
Yeah, he just said he's going to go hang out with his dad who was in Silence of the Lambs.
Yes, if you're watching Silence of the Lambs right now while also playing our podcast, look for a bald cop. There's a scene with just one bald cop. That's our raid lead's dad. So look him up. Apparently he's been in other movies too, but I don't know what movies he has been in.
I wanted to look him up and mention it here, but I also don't want to dox Lynn's dad, so
Dox my
I'll
dad.
leave that to you, the viewers. Go dox our raid leader's family.
And let us know so we can know what to look for as well. Thank you.
Disclaimer, we are not actually advocating the doxing of anyone.
Disclaimer, I saw a video earlier with dachshunds. They're really cute when they're puppies.
Disclaimer, when I made fake Pokemon, my grass type's name was Dox.
Like, wait, what do you mean? Hold up. Every grass type Pokemon you had?
No, I'm sorry. I made up my own Pokemon game with 90 shitty designs because I had friends. I had friends in 7th grade. we didn't like go and hang out at each other's houses. It's like, we'll see you at school and then never again. So, and also my parents were afraid of the online So before we got Xbox Live and stuff like that, I would just go home and I would pick a piece of media and I'd be like, every day I'm going to create a new character, except that they were all terrible and like super derivative. But I looked at it once. It's a heavy pile. I want to say I counted here, 36 original Sonic characters, 172 original Dragon Ball Z characters,
What?
40 Naruto characters.
What?
And-
40? How'd you even get like 5? 5 more that weren't already there.
I would just like see a thing and I'd be like, I'm gonna design a whole character about that. And of course, they all had super forms, and it had its own canon. I was there. If Naruto didn't continue, it had like 350 episodes, but I'm like, hey yo, I got 175 more right here with my boys.
Wait, hold up. Do you have this stuff still?
It is at my home.
Oh,
But
you
yes,
know
I
you
still
gotta
have
fucking
this.
find it. You know you gotta find that shit, and you gotta bring it to your house, and I'm gonna fucking read it. I want to read all your fucking original deviant art, your previant art. Yikes!
How many hedgehog-themed Pokemon did you have?
0. I was actually pretty proud of my Pokemon. I felt like, I want to say I did that one in like 8th grade.
I have breaking news about the Albatross mount from Island Expeditions.
Oh, shit.
You guys have seen that
Please
fucking
tell.
like rat with wings. Apparently they buffed it, or I guess they changed it, so now its size is like 30% larger for races, and then
Because it
50%
was
larger
too small.
for the bigger races. So yeah, so now if you're like a Draenei male, I guess you'll fit on it. And it's so funny because people were complaining like, this thing sucks, this thing's so tiny, and it's low res. To be fair, I think it's still low res. But now the comments are like, no, we liked it when it was small. It was cute when it was small. I looked better on it. And I'm like, you people you're the worst.
Yeah,
What do you want?
Yeah.
That's Blizzard fans, baby.
they're the hardest to please, and by that I mean no one will ever be pleased.
Except for putting high elves in the game, based on my trolling on the forums for Heroes Callboard, that is the one universal thing that everyone wants like every 3 days.
You know what's funny? This is not that related. It's not related at all. But I was thinking about this because, Aaron, you only really done Mechagon in War mode, right? Like, you haven't really turned it off unless we have.
I turned it off the final 2 weeks, but yeah, typically it's only ever been in war mode.
Because I've been going back more frequently now that I'm like, oh my god, I miss the internet. I missed Mechagon for a week. I need to go back and do things. So I was there, and I was like, oh wow, I haven't had war mode off in a while. But I feel like the balance is now, like, it feels really good. Before, it feels so bad because it was just, like, us and, like, 80 million Horde. But I haven't had a problem in a kind of, like, a while. And
No,
in the
in
population,
either of the new zones, I feel like we have a lot more representation out there.
So is this basically kind of implying that the people who like BFA tend to be more Alliance than Horde?
I don't know. I kind of felt like it evened out a little bit, like, even before Classic was officially out. Because I was like, oh, I have to go back to Mechagon. Oh, shit, War Mode's not off. But I'm like, wait, I don't need to even have it off. Like, I'm doing pretty okay right now. And people, like, are responding to stuff. And, like, you get really big skirmishes over, like, certain rare still. So it feels, like, really good. And it's odd. But I have noticed a difference in chat now that Classic's out.
Oh, yeah, I guess this would be our transition into talking about Classic in general, but boy, oh boy. I haven't played too much of Classic yet, but when I have been playing Classic, I've noticed that basically the entirety of the people who have been shitting on BFA in live have moved over to Classic, as we would have hoped, but it also means that the chat, like the /1 in every Classic I've been in, has been so toxic. It's basically all of these boomers. It's basically like a page of boomer memes.
It's just like 85 minion memes being copied and pasted, but they're racist and they have really bad language on them.
Yesterday when I was playing, it basically just free spam of build the wall, make America great again, and then like fucked up racist jokes, and I'm like, come on guys. I guess maybe you're just RPing. It is an RP server. Are you just like personally meta RPing as if you were still living in 2004? I don't know.
They're all
I guess
humans. They're just RPing, hating anyone who doesn't look like them.
That's what people were saying. Also, I think a lot of it is probably just it's new hype for a new game. All the trolls are gonna come crawling out of every hole just to like be a part of this. And that's why I think all this all this Q stuff is gonna die down by itself, even though they have been increasing server size and populations. So
Yeah, they have been taking measures to like reduce the queue times. Not only are they added a million new servers, but they are also saying that they're increasing realm capacity itself.
they added servers like 2.5 hours ago. Like they added 2 more PvP servers and 2 more PvE servers for the US, and then a bunch more for the rest, which is good. I mean, but I don't know if I'd rather them release this. No, actually, I know the answer. I would have rather them have more realms at the start than add more now, because we had this problem where on Grobulus, it seems like there are a lot of people who aren't trying to RP who have names like Dick Fuck, or I saw one today that was Busty Balls Sailor, and I'm like, I don't know if that that counts as an RP name or not.
Oh, you know us DNR boys are insta reporting all of these non-RP names.
I've been writing each and every one down. You're going to get a hot ban. But you know what the worst part, though, is I can't tell them in-game that they're about to get a ban because I don't think Ronald Lanesbury would know what Blizzard or the servers were. So I'm just writing these names down. I'm like, well, you're going to get yours later.
Once Ronald figures out how to send this, you're done for.
Send it.
So we've reached the point in our adventure here where we typically kick it off to our roving reporter Growliina. But when she tried to cross the barrier to Classic, for some reason she wasn't allowed to go. So I called upon my Classic correspondent, Margaret, for a little segment I call Margaret's Minute.
Margaret's Minute.
She's the gal on the prow. No, I can't use prow.
Margaret.
Except that,
Margaret on the move.
Margaret's a big gross man.
Oh,
He
yeah.
looks really gross because A, it's Classic, and also I just literally accepted the first person that was in front of me so I could get the name Margaret down. So it's a really ugly man.
Margaret on the move.
So, much like Growl on the Prowl, Margaret went around the vineyards of Northshire inquiring about what people thought about Classic so far in this week since it's been out. And this is what he had to say. Hello, Margaret here, speaking to some of the brave champions as they take the fight to the Defias Brotherhood. Enjoy your adventures, champions! Youth is fleeting, love is forever! Are you high? Never. I'd never think of it. The only thing drugs are good for is a headache. Are you? Just high on life, dude. Tell me your story, stranger. You see that Void Walker over there? Yes, he's a fine specimen. There's a reason. It exudes smoke. Oh my. So he's a user? Yes, I need it to cope. My grandparents died in a horrible carriage accident. Flew straight off a cliff. I'm so sorry to hear that. My wife, Grimelda, died in a similar manner. You should have seen the blimp that was hit when the carriage hit it on the way down. Oh my, that sounds like quite the sight. It is good that we found each other. That way we may keep each other safe from other carriage accidents. Yes, it is the life my parents would have wanted me to lead. Indeed, it is good to have friends. So where did you get those blue pants, my friend? They were a gift from Grimelda. I wear them in her memory. I see. For far too long, I had to go with just some sack pants that I grabbed from the garbage. All the denizens of Stormwind found me to be some sort of gutter baby. Ah, yes, a tale as old as time. Well, I'm done fighting the Defias, but thank you for the friendship, sir. I'll never forget you. Nor I. Thank you for your kinship, friend. I'll always remember you in this, Margaret's Minute. Thanks, Margaret. I'm glad to know that even though Growliina isn't allowed in the quagmire that is Warcraft Classic, you still have our back.
Well, while we are talking about Classic still, I might as well just pull this time warp.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Back-to-back segments.
All the segments. I was about to say back to back.
Get them out of the way.
All the segments, play them at once.
Ooh, play the hits. This is DNR's golden years.
Imagine if we had a Growl on the Prowl that was inside of one of our time warp, but also Growl on the Prowl.
I mean,
And this week, Growliina is our sexiest NPC of the week. Okay, well, Time Warp, in case anyone doesn't know, is a segment we bring back every week here where one of us pulls it, the other two have 40 seconds, like the Time Warp spell in the game, to answer with as many responses to the trivia question that I will give them. So, as I said, this one is classic themed, and on my mark, I'm going to ask you two to name as many of the dungeons that were present in World of Warcraft Classic as you can. So this is like vanilla dungeons. On your mark, get set, go.
Serpent
Dire
Shrine
Maul,
Caverns.
Stormwind, Stockades.
Fuck. Dire Maul's in phase 1 or phase 2, so we're good. Black
shit.
Rock Dungeon, is that BRD?
Lower
in this
Black
one?
Rock Spire?
Upper Black Rock Spire? Oh my god. So we got Stockades. Oh my god. Dead Mines. Dead Mines.
Yeah, welcome to the Dead Mines.
Welcome to the Dead Mines. Dead Mines, Serpent Shrine Cavern, the Everbloom, Under Rock,
the
Shrine of the
Everbloom?
Storm.
No, these aren't correct.
Toll the Gore.
Time.
Damn, I got
Okay,
spun.
y'all. Okay, let me tally this up here.
Your BFA arrow ones fucked me up.
I'm doing it, ma.
With a score of 3-2, Aaron wins this week. He named the Stockades, Dire Maul, and Lower Blackrock Spire, and Slide named Blackrock Depths and the Dead Mines. At this point, the loser of Time Warp is required to consume the alcohol.
Oh, I said Serpent Shrine Caverns and it's Wailing Caverns. I was like, wait a minute. I'm drinking my drink. Chug-a-lug.
I also chug-a-lug during the discussion of what counted and what didn't, so we're both losers.
I'm also a loser because during the 40 seconds, I just waterfalled.
Basically, everyone just drinks at all times.
Episode 38, I drink every time.
I'm sure our listeners know. Anyways, the dungeons that were available that were on my list that I would have counted were Scarlet Monastery, Blackrock Depths, Stratholme, Skolamance, Lower Blackrock Spire, Zul'Farrak, Dead Mines, Shadowfang Keep, Dire Maul, Uldaman, Black Fathom Deeps, Moradon, Razorfen Downs, Sunken Temple, Wailing Caverns, Nomergon, Razorfen Crawl, Ragefire Chasm, and Stockade.
Holy duty, there are a lot of them, and we definitely, 20 seconds in, started saying BFA ones.
Oh, I guess I didn't even realize that Shadowfang Keep was just completely redone. Because that's the Worgen one, right? Isn't that the
Yeah,
Worgen one?
but yeah, it used to be. I think it used to be humans before it was Worgen.
I guess there are still Worgen. Wow, there's bosses I've never seen before. Interesting. There's like a proto Worgen boss.
There's a whole bunch of them. What's it called? The one with the pig people, with the razor fen downs. I think
Razor
it's
Fen,
called.
yeah. Oh,
Like half the bosses in the current version are things that ate old bosses.
yeah. I mean, I guess we'll find out when we start running these dungeons when we're high enough. But my favorite is the end boss of Shadowfang Keep, or sorry, second to end boss is Wolfmaster Nando's, like the restaurant.
Perry
Nando's.
Perry.
So I guess we could just talk about what our classic experience has been so far. I've played quite a bit of it so far. I feel like Aaron, you played quite a bit. You've leveled what? How many warriors now? 3?
Yeah, I've leveled 3 warriors to 3, 7, and 4 respectively.
Yeah, I haven't played as much yet, but I feel like I've played a little bit so I can talk about it. What do you guys think of the leveling experience so far?
BFA and Classic are just like 2 completely different games, obviously. Because I feel like I'll play one, like I was playing Classic and I was like, all right, I'm feeling good, level 6. Oh my god, I'm so fucking tired of like running 80 miles till the next quest marker that's not marked. I'm tired of dealing with the quality of life changes that I'll just like sometimes just stop, take a break, play Battle for Azeroth, run some mythic dungeons, do like my PvP stuff, get the world quest done, and then when I feel like I feel pretty good, I can go back and start questing again. So it's a very nice give and take so far that I feel with the 2 games.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's nice that Classic has debuted because, like, if we feel a little bit of a lull, we can go and play it for an hour or so, and then it'll kind of like rejuvenate us on like BFA content because,
You
yeah,
don't know what you got till it's gone type of mentality.
yeah, exactly. Because as Slide was saying, like one of the biggest things I've noticed is like I don't know where the fuck I'm going. Like, yeah, it says like go across the river over there, and then I'm like, well, that could mean anywhere.
The instructions leave a lot to be desired, but I'm not gonna get that add-on because like there are add-ons that people had back then, and there is an add-on that shows you quest locations. But I feel like if I used it, I would be kind of robbing myself of the whole idea of Classic in the first place. So I'm not using it. But at the same time, I'm like, where the fuck are these barrels? What am I looting?
Yeah.
Where are they? Like, it's so frustrating that I'll have to just be like, fuck this. I don't know where this fucking wood is. I'm logging off.
Yeah, I was just about to say, as soon as I booted it up, people were like, "Oh, you got to download this thing," or like, "Oh, you gotta go and get this quality of life thing," and basically like smush and hack your game so that it's actually playable again. I'm like, if we're going back in time to how it actually used to be, like I actually wanted to be difficult to maneuver around. I want to dust off what was it, Thoughtbot, and see what vague hints it gives me. Like if I'm doing the classic experience, I'm doing it.
Exactly. I never had that experience, so I kind of want to play it just how it is. Especially since we're on an RP server, I feel like that should just be part of it. It's interesting to just kind of struggle with it, and like, I'm not in a rush. I'm not in like a race. Classic first, as they're calling it or whatever.
Yeah, I was just about to check in on that. That's, I think, the leader when I checked last. Yeah. So there's a race right now happening, and 3 people are level 52. The max is 60, so they got 8 levels to go. But people were saying that the last 5 levels are equivalent to the first 55 levels. And that alone is like,
Yep.
ugh.
I know it was very infamous that though these people are like power leveling dungeons, but it was very infamous that if you did every single quest that vanilla World of Warcraft gave you, you would be at 55 and a half. So then you'd
Yep.
have to find your favorite patch of pigs and kill them for weeks to get to 60.
Just like South Park said, which is kind of why it was great. So the 3 of us had characters that we're only going to play with when we're all on, and then we all have side characters, and then we have other side characters for playing with one and not the other. It's a little excessive, I feel like. But on our main trio, I have a dwarf paladin named Noreen, and I ran her ass from Dunmoreau over to these boys at, what's it called? Northshire Abbey?
Yep.
Yes, Northshire.
But our group is like such a weird group because we're all 3 melee. We're 2 paladins and a warrior. And Aaron, I don't know if you've noticed this yet, but apparently warrior is the worst thing to level in Classic, and it's only second behind Ret Paladin.
So we picked the
The-
3 worst, is what you're telling me.
I did know that someone was like, the only person getting to 60 I'll respect is a warrior. And I'm like, oh, that's very foreboding.
Yeah, apparently you're auto attacking for a while, like forever.
Yep. It's still the. I shudder to use the phrase like linkers, like I would for Fire Mage, because there's no like rhyme or reason to it. But it is the beginning of every air quotes combo is just a good old auto attack, which coming from Mage Life, I have never used.
Yeah.
That is weird.
I mean, because like in current, like there's no such thing as like wanding.
I haven't even had to wand in Classic yet. So my single player character is a priest, and he's level 8 now. And I want to get a wand because I don't even know. I never have even seen the wanding animation. Can you still do it anymore? I think you.
I think if
probably
you have a
can't.
wand equipped
In
and you
in BFA, yes, you
auto
can
attack, yeah.
wand. It's just it's not good. Like your wand is a stat stick. It's not supposed to be used for anything.
It's so bizarre. But yeah, so my priest has been very, very nice level alone. I think it's one of the best because I can just heal myself. So once I hit 10, I'm gonna just spec into shadow and then I guess do damage. But like for you, Aaron, you leveled warriors alone. That's gotta feel like garbage, right?
Yeah, I won't lie on Grobulus. I have 3 warriors only because I was going for names. So they're 3 just whatever was in front of me warriors. I'm interested because my single player guy is on Deviant's Delight.
Ugh.
gross.
I'm interested to try other specs and see how they are because warrior is very bad.
I don't really care what people say about what's best or min-max aim because like Classic is just something I'm going to play casually. So especially since we're on an RP server, like my ideal thing is going to be some weird hybrid between playing Holy and Ret, and I'm going to do accordingly so in choosing my talents because I don't care.
Yeah, you just gotta follow your heart, follow the heart of the cards, and maybe you'll discover a new meta because apparently people are still finding new metas, which is crazy to me. This game's been out for 15 years, and
Yeah,
in the time span of it starting, nobody found any of that shit out.
You would think that you could just enact strats from literally 15 years ago, but apparently this epic 4 mage 1 warrior tank thing that the leaders of the mythic the 60 race are going with was unheard of back in vanilla.
It's very odd, but I mean, I'm fine with it because I feel like it doesn't. What I do in Classic isn't gonna really affect much because I still feel like BFA is my main game. Like I have so much shit over there. I could never like imagine moving over permanently to Classic.
Well, that's what I'm afraid a large percentage of people are going to do, at least for like the foreseeable month or so here.
I'm fine with that. Like I said, the chat in BFA has been so much better. There's not people saying like, "Oh my god, the game's bad. Play Classic instead," because they're all playing Classic. It's just people who want to play BFA who are there, and it feels chef kiss.
Stan BFA.
Okay, this is a side tangent. Is Chef Kiss just the official new meme? Because I've seen, like, I know the like the onomatopoeia, like the action is a thing, but I've just seen Chef Kiss in chat a bunch over like the last 3 days, and I'm like,
Yeah,
where's everyone getting this?
Apparently, people just decided that they wanted the chef kiss more, so they started doing it as like a meme. But I'm like, it's already kind of its own thing. Can you really make it a meme if it already is like a thing that exists? People know what chef kiss means. It's not new, but
Yeah.
they're treating it like it is new.
I just saw a comment section that was like, it was like, when you get that perfect parallel parking, and like the first 12 replies were just chef kiss, chef kiss, chef kiss.
Yeah, because I feel like it's never like had a way to put it into writing before, so now people like asterisked it, and like everyone knows what it means. It's time now to shine again, I guess.
Yeah, I'm on board with the Chef kiss. Asterisk. Pace of Classic is definitely, obviously, going to be a lot slower when leveling. I don't know how I feel. I kind of like and hate the idea of all the RPG elements because, like, as a priest, and I don't know how it works for any other class really, but as a priest, I use maces, and I'm like, oh my god, I got this really cool like staff. How do I use it? Oh, I'm not trained in staves. How do I get that? You have to go to Stormwind, find a stave trainer, pay him 10 silver, and he'll train you in staves. And I'm like, what? Is that a good thing? It didn't feel like I gained anything. It felt like it just made me waste my time figuring out where to go without telling me. You know what I mean? It felt like it was definitely like a quality of life like decrease.
I had something like that with my warrior on Deviant's Delights.
Stop saying it.
So he started with a two-handed axe, and I was just two-handed axing until eventually it gave me a choice of like, oh, what do you want as your reward? And there were no two-handed. It was only a one-handed sword. So I had to do that and a shield, which I just found a shield off like a random dead troll. But my 19 levels of training were in two-handed. So all of a sudden I started dying a lot more because I had boo-boo one-handed skill. And I was like, so I'm being punished for continuing at this point, and I have to go and kill the wolves that I thought that I was done with 45 minutes ago until I can come over here and fight these trolls again, which I was easily doing with my axe. It's weird.
So for melee classes, you're saying that every individual weapon that you have, you need to level up.
Yep. And it's the same. You can even go unarmed with just like your bare fists. People will just like take off their weapons and go in the forest and punch pigs until they level up their unarmed like super high.
Why though? Don't you need like the stats on the weapons too?
That's a good question. I don't know if unarmed is just for fun or if it's just like, hey, you know what? If you don't want to have a weapon.
That defense is general defense, so maybe they're just trying to get wailed on by pigs for as long as they can to upgrade their defense. It is classic RPG, but it is not something of a classic RPG that I would be like, oh yeah, that's something I really love.
All right, so I figured out, because when Immune said it, why level unarmed? I was like, wait a minute, why the fuck would you ever level unarmed? I googled it, and I found this. Unarmed combat is the weakest of all combat types. Why bother with it? Some enemies have the ability to disarm you, and for a few seconds you're fighting unarmed. If you haven't built up your unarmed skill, you'll be flailing at the air. Also, your unarmed skill affects your attacks using fist weapons, which doesn't make any sense because you're obviously then equipped and you're armed if you're using fist weapons. But so it's mainly to help fill that gap between being disarmed, which I have been disarmed quite a bit by a lot of enemies already. So I guess it isn't the worst idea to punch some pigs.
It's just it's such a foreign concept to me.
It's kind of like Skyrim. Skyrim does that. You can level up in certain chains and certain like weapons and masteries and stuff.
So one thing I do like of Classic, and I think it's just my warrior privilege, but random things drop off of random creatures. And at this point in my leveling, it's not like, oh, I'm looking for like that perfect high eye level purple thing. It's like cloth hands that give me 5 defense instead of 4. Fucking okay, I'll pick them up. This cape gives me an extra 2. Slap it on there too. This will sound like a negative. It feels less like I'm like a hero off the bat, and like I am just some loser that came off his farm who is desperately stripping dead people for their things just to get an extra point in defense. I think it's a good thing at this point.
I agree, because like along the same vein, combat feels slower because I don't have as many abilities. So like we're auto attacking. It makes everything that you're fighting, even if it's just these wolves in the starting zone, it makes it feel more important. It makes it feel like it's more of a struggle, but you're just against these low level wolves because you're a low level human, you know?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of what makes classic, it isn't that it's necessarily harder. It's just that it makes you work more for it, which could be a negative, obviously, if you don't have to have the time to fucking keep fighting off these multiple wolves. The kobolds in the Westfall cave, they spawn like crazy. It's so hard to get out of there without fighting like 85 on your way out. They're all a threat. When is the last time that kobolds have been a threat to your life in current game?
I say even when we're low level, they're not. Fighting Goldtooth is like, okay, let me just put this on auto attack and then go make a sandwich and come back like, oh, my tooth. And he's a boss.
Slide was joking when we were leveling earlier. He's like, hey guys, where's my like heirloom motorcycle to carry me around? But we don't have that. We don't even have heirlooms. We don't have anything.
It's definitely a stripped down, bare bone experience, but obviously, like I'm liking it in a totally different way than I like BFA. I logged into BFA just so I can kill 8 things at once and feel like a god. Like that feeling is still nice to have. I guess just not all the time. But then that's why like Najatar, that place will fuck you up. You know what I mean?
It just scales completely differently. It feels completely different. I mean, they are completely different games at this point.
Speaking of stripped down bare bones, Grobulus, the server we're on, is an RP server. Have either of you experienced any RP? What is the level of RP that you've seen on the server so far?
I would say that I've probably played the most so far out of the 3 of us. And I honestly haven't seen that much until today. But until today, when I was leveling alone and leveling with Immune in our duo group, there wasn't much going on. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, well, this is interesting.
Yeah, but today, when the 3 of us were starting off on our trio of like the 2 paladins and the warrior, we were leveling in Northshire, and we were all floored that we saw a level 20 night elf. It's just insane that like you could see a night elf over here. Like they in Classic, they had to travel pretty far to get there.
She probably got to level 20 by just walking there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like our group has a dwarf, and we were like, ooh, Noreen's traveled a bit far to meet up with us here to level. But no, we saw a night elf. We saw this night elf, and she was just standing by the abbey. She was handing out a bunch of her buffs that she could to everyone. So she's just being a good person, handing out these buffs, and I like go up to her on Randolph, my human paladin, and kneel before her, and like in my true RP fashion, I'm like, "Thank you, wise traveler, for traversing the seas to grant us with your wisdoms." And then we start exchanging in RP, and she eventually trades with me and gives me a whole silver, which like compared to BFA is like chump change, but like whew, that's a lot for my like level 3 paladin in Classic.
She just bought you a new suit of armor with that gift.
Right, so she's like throwing silver around like it means nothing, and she's giving me some bandages and some healing potions, and I just bow before her and thank her, and I'm like, how could I ever repay you? And she's like, oh, it's just a gift from the city of Darnassus.
I was fucking begging that bitch to give me something. I was talking about her hair.
I was on
how
the
good
ground.
she looked.
I was clapping. I was like, thank you, brave hero. But this bitch didn't even give me nothing.
She didn't even click on me. She didn't even look at me. That poor Noreen.
Yeah, Noreen traveled enough in her own right, but I guess it wasn't enough for this night elf.
She got stabbed in the back of the head by level 6 Defias Brotherhood people. That's gotta be worth something. Hey, just give me half of that silver.
Please, I'll do anything. I'll slash clap at your crotch. Please. I just need to get out of here, man. I gotta see my kids.
I just realized, as our paladins, we actually can afford to spend money on talents and stuff, because we're gonna get that free mount at 40.
Boo. You better give me one for a reduced price.
Oh man, you better save that gold up. I'm curious to see how many warriors you get to 60, Aaron. What do you think your count's gonna be?
I think I'm gonna get 1 to 60, and it's gonna be 2 years from now, and I'll say, dang, I could have like learned to play the guitar or something.
I do hope that they take some lessons from Classic. There is a lot in Classic that could be utilized well in BFA, and just like the RPG element itself. Like there's so many choices that you can make, and there's a lot of areas to fuck up in, and I kind of like having that, be what you want to build, do what you want to be. Even though it's also like, use this guy to be the best raider, that's never going to change. But I feel like there's just less options to do that on current game.
Yeah, for sure. Like, as I said, I want to make a hybrid between Holy and Ret Paladin, and that's not possible even on current, so...
Well, the numbers don't lie. Scott Steiner will point it out for you. Blizzard can see the number of subscribers that are playing Classic versus playing current, and if they see it's like, pretty comparable, there's not really a reason to not take over some of those changes, Just don't take away like the good stuff, like flying or fucking being able to have humongous bags at a low cost. Ugh.
Or how about holding your sword like a real person does? My boy Ronald, when he pulls that sword off his hip, he's holding like the ball at the end. I'm like, did you not have the proper time to just kind of move the model down and line that up? This is a human man. I know he's the first one you started with.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is the one that all of it's modeled off of. So I'm scared to see what like a night elf looks like holding the sword, or a gnome. For God.
Hey, how
That
are ya?
said, even in current, they have not fixed that. You're a gnome and you pull a two-handed weapon off your back, you are holding that boy by like the edge of the sword. I'm like, why would you do that? No one holds anything like this. It looks very bad.
Yeah, I just zoom out whenever that happens. I'm like, nope, now looking at this. Speaking of sexy things like gnomes, I guess it's time to move into our sexiest NPC of the week. Ooh. This week's sexiest NPC is one of the sexiest ones to ever exist. He's got flesh pinker than my heart, and he's got a great mouth tube. It's Growliina.
Grobby Gang is here.
The only man to suck on his own kidney. Ain't that hot, ladies?
And like,
girl.
he has like one whole hand that could just be used as a dildo, probably.
He has two of those.
Yeah, I mean, I guess one is like a peener, and the other's just like if you want to just like straight up fist. It's a little
Wait,
rough
are you
looking.
talking about the fucking hypodermic needle? No, I don't want that anywhere near my butthole.
It's got green in it.
Yeah, just inject me, Grobby.
Don't put your needle up my butt.
Maybe this description will bring you around, Aaron. Let's see, it'll horn you up. Growliina, the first of what was to be an army of flesh giants, carried the plague slime of Noxramas within its body, injecting the living ooze into the bodies of its foe. The recipient of this foul injection would usually flee to his allies, bringing them down with him. Yeah.
So the creatures of Nax are like things that the Lich King was like gonna eventually use. Do you think that he was distinctly like, yeah, stitch together a big flesh guy, and then Kelthi's out is like, okay, that tracks. Yeah, and then put stink gas in him. Okay. He's got a big spooky needle because everyone hates needles.
And make him eat his own fart gas.
I was about to say, of course, my liege. What should his war cry be? Nope, no war cry. He's gonna gag himself with his own toots.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, how do you smooch Grobby?
He's also blindfolded because he has no eyes. He has a metal thing
Because
bolted over his
into
face.
that kinky shit.
He's a kinky motherfucker.
You tie up Grobby's metal ball and hypodermic needle to the bed and show him a good time. You keep go. The safe word is.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. He's just so good looking that like there's not much else you could. Oh God, look at him. Oh, he's filled with fart gas. What is that? What is that smaller tube connecting to? Like it's like his belly to like his like butt, right? Or his belly to like his back?
He's got a lot of gas in there. And then he's subdividing it because he doesn't want to burp a lot because that's rude. But he doesn't want to toot a lot because he respects your living space. So he uses his two tubes to split it up.
2 tubes.
Oh no, it's Tummy 2 tubes. 2 tubes.
Ugh. All right, Growliina, I think we talked enough about you. Your award's in the mail.
You've met the contractually obligated minimum to be our sexiest. Take your shit and go home.
I mean, we're all on a server, so technically we're all inside of Grobulus.
And listen, I would choose you any day over Deviant Delight because you're beautiful and they are nothing. Your award's in the mail. Take it. Thank you.
So I guess we have reached that point of the podcast where we will wrap things up and head on in to our top toot, bottom boot, or medium moot of the week. Aaron, what you got this week?
This week, my bottom boot of the week is that by default, Classic has an area play one song and then just be done. I later learned this is something that could be fixed and you could have the music going constantly. But I definitely leveled 2.5 characters and been like, it's just the sound of my own feet, huh? I don't remember that being a thing in like current WoW. I feel like the music just always kind of goes and is atmospheric, but it's definitely like
Donk.
do 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 do.
Donk.
Donk. Donk. The sound of you just staff hitting something.
Shing.
Donk.
Is this technically WoW ASMR now?
I think so. I think we can package it, sell it, and make some money off of it.
I mean, we've already
Okay.
been branded as an ASMR podcast for a while, so
Fucking bonus bottom boot. I was listening to some Warcraft ASMR, and this girl's like, "Oh, I'll heal you with my elven magics," and like she was saying words, but this girl had the moistest mouth, and I was like,
I think
"Ugh,
I think this
stop
is
it."
my bottom boot. Is hearing this story. This is my bottom boot.
I was like, "Stop it!" 'Cause
Ugh.
typically, I listen to them to like help relax to go to sleep or something. I was like, "Ugh."
Don't tell people
Stop.
that.
Well, they're not usually weird, moist mouth sounds. It's just whispering.
Oh my god! I just found ASMR World of Warcraft My Pet Collection. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that she's saying the name?
Who's
Shari.
I want to say I haven't listened to that one, but I want to say it's to her just like, this is my Pandaren monk. It's pretty neat, and this is my big bad wolf. Its name is her cousin.
This is really hard to listen to because I hate the sound of whispering in the audio form. Oh my god, yeah, she's like, this is my hippocalf. I got it in Draenor. Are you kidding me? Yes, this is my sunflower. I got it at a farm. Stop. No.
And this is my honeycomb.
I was gonna say it's rough too, because Slide and I have started watching Big Brother, and like he hates that a lot of the show is whispering because it needs to be secretive. So they're all just like whispering to each other, and then it's like, oh my god, I'm gonna vote off this person.
But the mics are never in the right spot, so it sounds like I'm like, oh god, stop.
So that was my bottom boot. Immune. What is your TTBBMM?
Well, as aforementioned, my top toot of the week is my RP in WoW Classic, and in particular my RP with my new Night Elf friend from the city of Darnassus. It was just so...
Boo.
I mean, like, maybe it's just because it personally benefited me with a whole silver, which is a lot, but yeah, I would say that was my top toot of the week. How about you, Slide? What is your TTBBMM?
My top toot of the week requires a reference point back in time. One day, I was playing, and I just got my fancy top hat that Growliina was trying to get forever. I bought it, put it on, made my slick gnome suit costume, walked around like I was a miser, handing out money to people, and I met this gnome whose name was like Jerry or something, and he said, "Oh my god, I love your hat." And I said, "Oh my god, I love your hat." And we talked for like an hour, and I fake determined that he was my college roommate and that we had been long lost friends for a while, and so we were cool. We actually added each other to BNet that day, and I saw that his username was college, like his actual like WoW account name was college. And he goes, "Oh my god, how do you know my name was college?" And I'm like, "I didn't." So anyway, so this is a weird connection I had with another gnome guy. When I got back from the internet 3 days ago, I was playing, and I was in Mechagon doing war mode stuff, and I saw these two orcs attacking this poor little gnome boy, and I came down to save him,
no.
and I'm blasting asses, and he goes, "Hey," I get a whisper from college, and he goes, "Were you just at Bondo's yard? Did you just fight two orcs that I healed you?" And I'm like,
Were you just at Bondo's yard,
"What?"
bro?
And then I turned around, and he's looking at me, and I'm like, oh, "My college roommate, college from Nomergon." It was we were friends. We played on the same shard before, and it put us on the same one again. And by chance, I happened to just run into him in the wild, and it felt really fucking cool. Like, it was like that thing that, like, it's like, oh my god, I'm playing on a server with this guy. Like, you know, I'm gonna see him every now and again. We had like an experience where we both saved each other, and it felt super neat. So my top 2 go out to my college roommate. College, stay in school.
My college roommate, college.
That's his name on BattleNet. It's College. It was a weird irony thing that I called him that without knowing it was his name. I miss him. I haven't seen him in like 2 days.
I haven't seen him since my college
You haven't
days.
seen him since college?
Yeah. I also do have I have a semi-bottom boot, which I guess is a medium boot. I can see which of my friends are playing WoW Classic, but I can't see what server they're playing on. On current BNet, it's like Aaron is playing Growliina on Proudmoore. Or it's like Logan is playing Arboleda on Proudmoore. It just says College is playing WoW Classic. What server is he on? How do I hang out with him? I don't want to have to talk to him. I want to surprise him again. But I can't do
We
that.
didn't used to tell you this. You have to track him down on MySpace and ask him for his battle tag and his Nintendo Wii friend code.
Hopefully your mom doesn't pick up the phone or else your dial-up will disconnect.
Have you guys heard of Unreal Tournament? That shit's gonna be crazy.
Oh, to be young.
Let's go to QuakeCon.
Oh, man. If I had a time machine, I would totally go to QuakeCon, though. Can you imagine? Imagine the memes.
I think there still is a QuakeCon. As
No,
of
I
like
wanna
2016,
no.
I've heard there's a
No, there's
QuakeCon.
not. Stop. Listen, once we get to SakuraCon 2007, all will be right. That was the right
2009, you
Fuck.
cretin.
Delete this immediately. All right, well, I guess at this point, it's time to wrap the show up and get out of here. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, nudes, whatever you want to send us, you can email us at donotrelentlpod@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us on Twitter at donotrelentlpod. What about you, Cats? Where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at NewEraAlex.
Meow. I'm a cat. I'll be lapping up a bowl of milk and be on Twitter at the Big Acheesy.
Seeing it in my head, I imagine you just a cat, and then you just like standing up straight with your Bob Barker microphone, changing your form to say
Meow.
cheese.
It's like cats. I am neither cat nor I am human. I am a disgusting simulacrum.
Are we gonna cover the Cats musical and become a Cats podcast?
Oh, you
Of
know
course.
Memories all alone in the moonlight. All right, well that's it from us. You guys can catch us next week, and remember.
Another down. Do not relent.
Do Not Relent is a podcast within the 3HNC network, representing U.S. Proudmoore's premier podcasts.
That was a very good wish.